Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ESL 1 Frankfurt 2014. It is going to be a second fantastic day of Dota 2 action, live from the Commerzbank Arena. After a terrific day one, we're hoping for much of the same again today. A packed audience once more, here to support all of their favourite teams. We're going to kick off this morning with Na'Vi versus Evil Geniuses. And we're back on the desk as well. Of course, joining me once more, four brilliant men, all here ready to do war and battle at the desk once more. Bruno Mellini, a man who goes by the name of Mad, as we shorten it a little bit, and Malcolm.
Malcolm in the middle.
Malcolm, you should be sat here.
I should.
But that's fine. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
I
Looking forward to this?
Yeah. EG Na'Vi, we didn't get to see it yesterday, but now we're starting the day with it. I think that's great, especially with the closing we had yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruno, I know you're stupidly excited. This is Christmas Day for you now.
I actually didn't sleep yesterday in anticipation for this match. I was like, I'm gonna watch this and I cannot sleep. So yeah, I watched the Alliance Cloud9 match again 4 times and then I got here.
It was great last night,
It was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
I mean,
it's a hard act to follow.
Great way to finish the night.
It was one of the best games I've ever casted, and the excitement, and it was like excitement all through too. It wasn't like, oh, there's 20 minutes of like, whatever, but it was. I was
85 minutes of pure excitement.
Yeah, I was too much.
Seb, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well.
Yeah?
I'm really hyped for that game, the Na'Vi EG game.
Yeah.
Like I was also waiting it, expecting it. It's gonna be awesome matchup.
Okay, cool. Well, let's take a look at the brackets first before we get any further on, so we can update you on exactly where the teams are, because we had 3 matches yesterday that advanced 3 teams through to the semi-finals. Straight knockout, of course, here at ESL 1. Alliance versus Invictus Gaming, that'll be coming up a little bit later on. Fnatic wait in the lower half of the bracket for the winners of our first game today. Evil Geniuses versus the Born to Win team, the based Ukrainians, as we're calling them.
If you look at the most recent results going into this tournament, Alliance versus IG is probably one of the most anticipated matches of this tournament. Yep. IG just beating DK 3-1 before they flew off to Frankfurt. Alliance winning DreamHack. I think this is a really, really high-profile match.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll cover that in just a moment. Just want a quick reminder for you, if you are in the crowd right now or you're at home, wherever you are in the world, thank you for tuning in. You can participate in the predictions. Go to esl-1.com and let us know who you think will win this next match. Is it Na'Vi or is it EG? And we'll find out from the panel very shortly as to who they've picked. It's very interesting as well. I think we're going to find a little bit of fighting today here at the desk. Initial thoughts on Na'Vi EG. Jacob said it's one for the ages, perhaps. It's a terrific matchup to have in a quarterfinal.
You know, EG, when they came into the Dota 2 scene, where Malk was playing them, they immediately became Navi's rivals. They traded very evenly for the longest time. Then EG had kind of a slump. Now that they're back at full force, they've been dominating Na'Vi. They're in a winning spree. They won against them in the finals of the D2L Western Challenge, the Summit, and Star Series. If you have to go back to the last Na'Vi victory, you have to go back to the group stage of the Western Challenge, which didn't really matter because EG took it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben, your thoughts on this matchup?
I kind of view Na'Vi like a team like Alliance, where a couple months before TI they really start turning their game up, and Alliance already turned it up right before DreamHack, and now I think Na'Vi is going to really bring their A game. EG, it's the easy bet, I'd say, considering the last 3 or 4 best of 3s, but now I think it's their time.
Mal, difficult because these two teams, if you look at their form anyway over the last few months, EG have been really good, winners at MLG, winners at the Summit as well, and they've shown some really, really good play. Over, I think, 75% win rate right now in the latest patch as well. Na'Vi, on the other hand, a little bit quiet so far, a little bit not maybe as big as we hoped they would be at the start of this year.
The 3 previous matches was a lot easier for me to predict than this one. I think this one is going to be the closest. Fnatic versus VG Gaming was also, I mean, you guys all bet for VG Gaming. Let's not go into that right now. But Na'Vi against EG, because you can never count Na'Vi out. They always have something up their sleeve, and this time around, I don't even know what they're going to pick. With the other teams, you know what playstyle to anticipate, you know what they're going to pick. With Na'Vi, I have no idea.
Okay.
Anything goes.
All right, fair enough. We're going to drill into the teams a little bit deeper in just a moment, but first of all, Zoe has caught up with a luminous figure.
So Luminous, you're also joining this great event as a spectator this time. And I mean, this is one of the very few tournaments which is played in a single elimination format. What are your thoughts on that? As for many people out there, it's really, really exciting.
It's very different from what we're more used to currently, but it reminds me of 2 things. First of all, real sports. You don't have a double elimination bracket. Once you lose, you're out. So it kind of reminds me of that, and I really like that. Also, this reminds me of the older days of Dota tournaments, where it's like a weekend cup. You lose once, you're out. It's like the same thing here, a 2-day event. I think it's going to be very quick, very exciting, and when you have the best team in the world, sometimes that's what you want. So I like it.
Wonderful. I think a lot of people would agree with you there. How do you like the event so far? Everything good for you? Everything comfortable?
It's great. I want to get down to the crowd and watch some of the matches, but for now I had a great time meeting personalities and players and whatnot, so it's cool.
So do I. Having you here is great. So thanks a lot for joining me for the interview, and we're going to give it back to you guys.
Thanks very much. Crowd here enjoying themselves. They've got their, what do they call those?
Clappers.
Clappers, yeah, sort of.
Oh, dongers.
Dongers. Yeah, I think that's a different game. Let's not go there because I got into trouble yesterday for turrets. I've got it today, people. Honestly, towers, not turrets. I get it. It's okay. Okay, let's talk about the two teams. First of all, Evil Geniuses, Zaya, PPD, Arteezy, Mason, and Universe. As we've already said, Bruno, really in form lately, seem to suit the patch really nicely. Win rate ridiculous. Are they the favourites in this tournament, or is that just stats?
I think it will be a team with a G, either IG or EG. We still don't know, but definitely one of the top teams here. They've been in amazing form, not only winning matches, as you said, winning tournaments. They went to the Summit, dominated. Dream League, they didn't do so well. Apparently, they were a little bit jet lagged, but when they play and they're in top form, these guys cannot be stopped.
Okay, they go up against a storied team, Na'Vi, of course, and you saw in the crowd there plenty of yellow jerseys. It's quite extraordinary.
Oh, no, Paul, those are the security guards.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Don't get them wrong.
Right, I think they're missing a marketing opportunity there because Na'Vi should sponsor the stewards.
Security.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That would be pretty cool.
In all seriousness, Malk, there are a lot of fans here, not only in Na'Vi shirts, but some without Na'Vi shirts.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, how you can see there's a lot of Na'Vi shirts in the crowd, and then you don't even know how many Na'Vi fans are actually here, because think of all the people without the Na'Vi shirts. So I'm expecting a huge turnout for Na'Vi.
Seb, he's played in a number of tournaments with home fans and had that support. It seems like there's a little bit of bias towards Na'Vi in the crowd here. So EG almost like not the bad boys, but they're not going to have the same kind of crowd support. How are they going to play? Is it going to affect them at all?
I've actually experienced myself the Na'Vi support. It's basically EG might be winning a fight at one point, 4-1 or 5-1, but when that one guy from EG dies, you're going to hear the Na'Vi shouting, and you're actually questioning, like, are we losing that fight, guys? I don't think. I'm doing pretty well. What about you? I'm doing well. We won that, but the crowd is still against us, so it might come into play, but when you're that focused in the game, I don't think it will hurt them. They're a great team.
Melini, what are your expectations between these two teams? How it pans out? What are you expecting to see? A long game, short game, 3 maps, 2 maps?
I think pretty short, probably 3 matches, but each individual game will be pretty short. I think these teams love aggressive, early, a lot of fight, probably a lot more of that. EG has a lot of upside. I think they're a younger team. Na'Vi a lot more experience, and I think they really need to bring it today.
Okay, let's take a look at the predictions now and go through them one by one. 4 predictions, of course, here at the desk, and you'll see that Team Bruno have gone for Evil Geniuses and Team Malk have gone for Na'Vi.
Et tu, Brute?
Yeah, what?
What?
Et tu, Brute?
Yeah,
It's
very good. Yeah, I know that one. Good bit of Latin there.
Yeah.
Seb.
Well,
You've stuck with Malk here. I can't but feel that the man that's got 110% correct so far, you're just copying now.
I put the average, a bit lower, because then we're equal, since I was false twice yesterday. But I feel very confident now. I have Mike on my side, so I think we got that right.
I hope you don't pull me down on this one.
Don't let me down, Mark. Don't let me down.
So, Malk, in a more serious tone, because Seb has obviously just followed you, why have you gone?
I think they got the surprise factor going into this. EG by now is probably figured out by most teams here, whereas, as I was saying earlier, Na'Vi a bit not so much.
Okay.
So I think they got the element of surprise.
Okay, Bruno, no surprise that the stat man has gone with the statistically strongest team here.
Right. And this is very easy. EG doesn't have Malk anymore.
Okay.
So they're the favorites.
Holy.
Oh, really? He went there?
Speaking of statistics, though, I think EG's win rate is a little bit fluffed. You're a fluffer for pushing up their stats a lot, but they've been playing a lot of qualifiers with a lot of American teams, and American teams are notoriously shoddy compared to the rest of the Western.
I'm glad he said that.
Everyone
else said that on the because we'd all be lynched right now.
I mean, it's pretty much been the same way for the last 6 or 7 years, but yeah, I think their win rate, it's not necessarily that ridiculously good when you look at their
Yeah, but
opponents.
if you look at them, for example, you talked about Navi and take Hvos, for example. Gyrocopter, Medusa, kind of two Hvos heroes, 0-1-2, 0-1-3 in this patch. You look at Arteezy heroes, 6-0 with Phantom Assassin. You look at Mason, 13-3 on Mirana, 6-0 on Doom. These guys are on the top of the form. They really are.
Okay, let's take a look at the predictions now of you guys, both at home and here in the crowd. It's currently 54-46 in favour of Na'Vi. That's probably pretty representative of what we got here after all. I mean, it's 50-50 across the desk. It's almost 50-50 at home. And
I think in the crowd
as
we
well.
probably have a...
Slight bias?
Yeah, there's probably 75%.
I think if we took that out and we said, okay, show us only the crowd, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. But it's a fair representation, Bruno, of the fact that this is probably the closest to the 4 quarterfinals.
Oh, I would say so, absolutely. That's why I was so excited.
Yeah.
There's no clear winner here.
Okay, Bruno, final...
Okay, thank you.
I'll look at Bruno and talk to Malc.
I have
I'll do the
exotic
other way
features as well.
Expectations for this match. I've already spoken to Ben about it, but how do you feel? I mean, is it going to be a short game? Are we going to see some fireworks, or is it going...
Like Ben was saying, it's going to be short games. Navi always likes to push into bases 20 minutes and just push their advantage as much as humanly possible. At no, I mean, there's no actual timing behind it. It's a bit more chaotically planned out than with a lot of other teams. With my prediction, it really requires Navi to go with their usual playstyle and push and be dominating. Because I don't think if they go past the 30-minute mark, I don't think we see them win.
Okay, Seb?
I wouldn't necessarily agree. I think Navi has a really good experience of long games. They've played the TI3 finals versus Lion best of 5 and was rather, I mean, the
They
four
lost
first games,
that one, Sev.
They lost that one, right? But they did really well. It was
That's his point.
It's okay, it's a
the
losing
strategy once again. It was because of big plays from Alliance as well, but they did really well. They came back many times. They have great experience, and I like to say that Navi in the money time is just a different team like that they are usually. They lost to EG recently in the best of 5, 3-0. So that was EG basically crushing Navi. There's no other words, and it was pretty easy games for EG, or it looked like that at least. So this time around, Navi, the setup is different. The pressure is here, and they perform really well under pressure, better than any other team in my opinion. So.
Okay, Malini, we've spoken a little bit yesterday about the impact that the international has. That it's not far away now, and some teams are going to be saving something or not saving something or showing something they want other people to try and counter because they've actually got another strat behind that that's even stronger. What's your opinion on Na'Vi EG?
For Navi, I don't really think that any team can really prepare for them. They're one of the most skilled teams and one of the most versatile teams. Sometimes they just pick the most ridiculous things that no one else ever picks. As does EG a little bit, but it's been a little bit more predictable for the last couple of months. But as Mel said, no idea what Navi is going to bring to the table.
Okay, teams are on their way into the stage. Evil Geniuses first. PPD, Arteezy, Zai, Universe, and Mason.
It's not that
All
Universe
on
is
the stage.
impolite. It's just a bit chilly in here today. That's why he's got his hand down his trousers.
It is a little bit chillier today, that's for sure. Perfect playing conditions in many ways.
Sorry, what?
Perfect playing conditions in a way down there.
Yeah.
It's not hot, it's not sunny, it's not raining.
Okay, I hear a difference.
There's a...
Yeah, I think the decibel level just went up a little bit.
Yeah. We have Puppy. We can't see anyone else because he's so tall.
He's a scary guy when he's walking towards the camera. You sort of feel intimidated.
I love Phoenix shorts.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They match my jacket, actually. I will give you my jacket if you want.
Actually, he's like a reverse version of you right
I
now.
know.
The yellow, the red, and the black.
He's a little bit of a crowd pleaser as well, going for the German colors right
going
there.
for the German colours, I like that. I'm not sure if people have actually noticed that you're wearing an old German outfit.
Oh, I thought this was Belgium. Sorry. Oh, we're in German. Yes, German colors. Totally.
There you go.
It came eventually. Good man, Bruno. Well done. Well saved. Wrong country, slightly different border, but we're good.
It's okay.
We're all okay right now. Okay, we're going to take a look at some of the players on a little bit more depth in just a moment. Generally speaking, to all of you, what was your experience yesterday? Was it what you thought it would be? Was it better? Was it worse? How did you have any expectations, I guess, before you came here about what this would look like and how it would feel?
When you talk about a stadium this big, you think of concerts. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, and of course, football matches, right? But football matches have different dynamics. And you know how loud concerts are. And this was exactly just like that.
Yeah.
It was like there are 10 rockstars in the stage.
Yeah.
And their keyboards are not keyboards to play music, but to play games. It worked so well. People were exactly as excited. It was just as I dreamed.
Yeah, okay, good. We're going to start looking at some of the players. First of all, Arteezy and Seb. Seb.
Well,
Seb.
What can I say?
Seb.
I feel like saying that
Seb.
he's a bit underrated in my opinion.
A bit rated in your opinion?
He's a bit underrated in my
Okay.
opinion, but he's definitely okay to. He's definitely not okay to not be in such a big tournament. Like, he's definitely one of the best solo mid players at the moment.
I
He
think
proved
you may
himself.
have just fixed yourself.
Yeah,
I
he
think
did.
you
I
may
mean,
have just done that.
we need to expect him in such a tournament, but he's facing one of the best solo mids in the world as well. So, looking forward to see him play.
All right, next up is PPD, Bruno.
PPV, he's the brain of all of this. This guy, he brought crazy strats when no one was doing. He brought the Wraith King back into the support. He brought the Witch Doctor here that has been neglected for so much time. He really understands what's going on, and most importantly, he knows how to play what he wants to do, and at the same time giving the players what they want to play.
Okay, Mel, our final pick from the EG team is Universe.
I like to think of Universe as one of the most stable players in the scene. He always performs. He doesn't really have the highest top level. Like, he never brings out those big plays that we see from other players like Dendi or Demon from Team Liquid and such. But he always performs. He's never the losing link or the weakest link.
Yeah, and as you saw there, played in 3 internationals for 3 different teams.
Yep.
Some record.
Did he play with you, the first one?
Tier 2.
Yeah, with TI2.
And he wasn't actually playing in TI1. He was
Nirvana, right?
he was coaching OK Nirvana.
Okay. All right.
Along with Bycat and other players, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at Na'Vi now. This first one has been a bit of a bane for me, actually, because, you know, when you look at the words and the letters, it's not quite how it seems. Havost.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's funny, actually. He's, along with Dendi, he's one of those players that is known throughout esports. It's not just limited to Dota 2. He's definitely a well-known player, but I'm pretty sure that people are pronouncing his name wrong.
I did for the longest time. I'll be the first one to admit that I called him Xbox a long time.
Yeah. Actually, he changed his name to HVOST for a while. Then
And the
Puppy.
man, Puppy, the drafter.
One of the smartest guys in the whole Dota scene. If
So
not the
smart.
smartest. So smart.
So smart.
Puppy the mastermind.
I think
would
that
have
works well. Yeah, that definitely works well. And our final man, I think you may know this man. He is known worldwide in esports, not just in Dota 2. He is Dendi.
A very popular guy here in the stadium as well. Seb was calling him one of the best solo mids in the world. I'll be the first one and be a bit controversial and maybe say, as of late, I wouldn't agree as much. He's not the Dendi that we've seen in TI2, for instance.
Well, his hair grew a little bit. That's a difference.
That
but
might be why.
Other than that, he still has it in his hands. Actually, I got this trying to challenge him on an Invoker 101. But he's QOWER.
Let's just clear this up while we have a little minute before the draft begins. Let's just clear this up because there've been several stories of bears and invokers, and I'm pretty sure that Bruno's hand got hurt whilst challenging someone to a running race.
Don't pull out the race card on me, Paul. That's not unfair.
Milk.
Terrible. So, Toby and Bruno was actually racing each other, and
When we say racing, we should say half jogging.
yeah. Well, actually, Toby is surprisingly fast.
He's known in circles as the Juggernaut.
Yeah. Well, he likes to call himself that at least.
Tasted or something. Yeah.
So they were racing. Toby won, and I wanted Bruno to get his revenge right. So I told him to race once more because I didn't see the first one, and I just wanted to have a laugh. And so halfway to the finish line, Bruno just, what can best be described as taking a dive, because he literally just went like this in the air.
And when we say dive, what we actually mean is a South American football team kind of dive, right?
On pavement.
On concrete. On concrete.
I'm surprisingly
Bouncy.
sturdy.
You definitely bounced. It was a very hard hit.
Yeah, I left a skin
You
mark.
did, yes.
in the
Some of your shirt was still in the concrete.
I think my chest hair saved my life.
Right.
Bruno's reasoning for then being as elegant as he was that he wanted to save face for the for the panel. He didn't want his face to get hurt.
When I went to pick, so I was like, are you okay here? You all right? Because it looked pretty horrendous, right? I picked him up and he's like, all I could think about in the final second before I landed was avoid the face.
The moneymaker.
Yeah. So that's the true story. No bears, no invokers, no fights with Dendi, no hairstyling, nothing. That's how the hand got ruined. I think he was trying to do an impression of Michael Jackson at one point, but we couldn't find the white card either.
Yeah.
So enough of the nonsense right now. We're getting into the serious business of the draft for game one.
There's one thing I'd like to mention about what Mike said earlier about Dendi. When you think about it, one thing that had him forced to change is the bottle crow in mid. He was the kind of player to actually he could dominate a 1 versus 1 and win the game for his team, just by the skill he has. But the problem with that is the mid lane is now very even because of the bottle crow usually. So
not only that, if you look at what RTC started creating, and a little bit of a channel envy as well, we don't see more of these Queen of Pains. We rarely see pucks mid. We go for this kind of like carry mid players. Yes. You just put the carry player on the mid, and you just get the silent to be the rotating kind of not what would be the mid player before. So now we see PAs and we see Shadow Fiends.
Kind of hard to crush your opponent.
Yeah, he kind of doesn't work as well right now in this metagame.
That is true. And I really like the first pick Enigma for EG. It's a hero they use very well, and they usually jungle the hero. I don't think they play it differently, so it's interesting to see that they would first pick that hero.
I think it's kind of a direct challenge to Kuroki's Rubik too. They're not even banning it out. And Kuroki's probably even better known than Chuan for his Rubik play. And going back to the Doom pick too, Doom very, very popular in the Eastern scene. Not so much in the Western scene, but still pretty popular. Pretty good versus Doom, very good versus Tidehunter. Or, sorry, very good versus Enigma, pretty good versus Tide.
When you see Tidehunter and Enigma, and we've seen this from EG a lot as well, this is a really, really hard lineup to play against because you have to be careful of so many things. Cloud9 suffered that during the Dream League. There was this dreaded silencer game. And, I mean, granted, the same player said, well, that was not the best game for the silencer player, which was Spotlight Die, but at the same time, you have so many things to think about. It's like, well, do I try to stop the Enigma and then the Tidehunter will wreck me? You have to make so many choices, and sometimes you get lost in trying to stop those two, and you forget about the carry that is actually killing your team.
Definitely, and I don't think Doom will be enough to stop their teamfight potential, so Navi might be looking to something else than 5 versus 5 head-to-head teamfights. The Doom is a very good hero for Chovos, in my opinion. He's a very aggressive player by nature. He joins ganks and fights very early on, and he's probably gonna get Midas if he's playing safe lane. So he's gonna get his farm regardless of what happens, and he might be the tank option for Navi if he decides to get the pipe or a BKB, a Shiva's Guard pretty fast. So he might be their key for the teamfight. Yeah.
There's a lot of good support picks right now available, and Rubik is actually not banned out, so that would be the most obvious choice. They go for Faceless Void, not really in a hurry. But there's also Lich that can cancel the Black Hole. There's the Disruptor. If he gets an Aghanim Scepter, then that's also going to be at least the bane of Enigma's existence, right? So they have several outs.
You know what Zai's record with Enigma is in this patch?
No.
9-1. You know what Universe record with Tidehunter is this patch? 8-0.
So Navi,
Navi
has to some big plays.
Yeah, sure. And I actually personally don't like much the Faceless Void into a Tidehunter Enigma pick, mostly the Tidehunter, because it feels like if you, until you have the BKB, which is going to be a very late item in a Faceless Void, you want to avoid the item. If you don't catch the Tidehunter, there's a possibility for reset, and your black Chronosphere feels kind of wasted.
That's true, but on the other hand, we saw yesterday, although IG lost that game to Mouse because Mouse was just playing out of their minds, right? Their last hope was actually Void going on Tidehunter. It looked like at one point they could win the fight thanks to that. So maybe that's Navi's plan. Like, one of the best ways, he can't evade the disabling, the disabling from the Chronosphere.
You can now crack and shell out of it.
I gotta ask you, how are they laning this?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. You talked about Doom being played by Havos.
No, this is a Kuroki Doom.
Yeah,
Kuroki Jungle Doom.
And
Jungle Doom?
Yeah, Jungle Doom Kuroki.
Then he also plays Prophet on the mid lane.
Yeah, that's also true.
Here we see the Disruptor. Navi is definitely going for the long game here.
Yeah.
I think Navi has a great way of dealing with the EG teamfight, to be honest. And the Storm Spirit is very interesting. So he got Storm Spirit versus one of two best heroes against him, like the Void, the Doom, and actually even the Disruptor.
Well. Yeah.
So that's a very, very risky pick for EG. I'm looking forward to see how they're going to use that.
What's then you're going to play?
Yeah, I would bet on Prophet if it's not, it could be a Prophet Wood, it could be a Prophet mid or offlane. Navi can play anything. That's
What about something like Invoker for Dendi? Is that still an option for them?
could be good.
I'm normally a big fan of a Furion mid, just because of how much it opens up the map for you, and he gets that fast level, he can push down towers easily, he can gank the side lanes easily, but Navi doesn't have a lineup that could support that.
When you think about it, if they run a Prophet Woods or a solo mid that can kill the Storm Spirit easily, I mean, with the help of the Prophet, Storm Spirit is a very easy kill in the early game, so they could destroy that Storm Spirit. And there's something to say about Navi, and especially Puppy. He usually focuses a lot on the mid.
I don't think Storm's going to be mid. RTZ doesn't play Storm.
I'm completely agree with you. To me, it's a safe Mason Storm. In that case,
and what would they run mid in that case? Razor mid.
Yeah.
All right.
Razor does pretty well against Nature's Prophet. He doesn't really care much.
The team fight from EG is very scary.
It is.
So Navi is looking for.
But this is what we were talking about earlier. We have no idea what Navi's going to go for.
No. But this is really good for them. It's really hard to draft.
I really like the fact that, I mean, the Doom seems kind of not pointless right now, but he has so many targets to choose from. There's so many interesting things that he has to stop that one Doom is not going to be enough.
That is true.
I only think he really has to worry about 2 targets: the Storm Spirit and the Enigma.
I would say not even Storm Spirit. Disruptor can handle Storm pretty easily.
Yeah.
Unless he
True
jumps
enough.
on Disruptor.
Navi can win the lane.
But if he jumps on Disruptor, it's kind of like a victory because he's not jumping on someone else.
Imagine if Navi just goes for another support now and puts the Fury on middle lane with either the Void or the Doom going off lane.
I like this a lot.
I think that would work really well.
Oh, there's the Invoker.
Oh, there's the Invoker. So a really, really farm-intensive lineup from Navi.
Greedy.
Okay, let's find out whether it's greedy or not with your commentary team for game 1 of the day. It's our 4th and final quarterfinal with Synderen and Toby1.
Thank you very much, Paul. We are here for Navi versus EG. I'm Toby1, joined by Synderen. And man, we're going to have one hell of a best of 3 coming our way.
Yeah, just already from the draft here, of course. This is, I don't know if we should call it a historic matchup. Like Bruno pointed out, these teams have faced off a lot of times in the past. Not necessarily the players themselves, but the organizations. EG and Navi have a history across many games for playing a lot of very important matches because they are 2 of the biggest esports organizations in the world. So this kind of matchup is one that even people who don't watch that much Dota can probably relate to being a fan of either team from maybe some other game like Counter-Strike or maybe League of Legends or something like that. So even though I don't think Navi has a team there right now, but I could be wrong. Anyway, it is of course Dota 2 we're looking at right now, as we actually do have a pause right away with a disconnect from Funix. So I think it's going to take a little while before we get into the game. So let's talk a little bit about our impressions of the draft. What do you think?
Straight away, man, like I know I was talking to you before when we saw the first 2 pickups coming from EG, and I was talking about this here on like day 1 during the mouse game, and I'm like, where is the Enigma tie combo? Where is the full team fight thing where I was expecting it for this competition, where you have like this huge amount of control which no one really wants to go into, and as this tag teaming big AoE control abilities which just let you dictate the terms of the match. That's what I was expecting to see coming out in this tournament. EG with their first 2 pickups with that Enigma as well as the Tide, it's like they're just making a statement straight away saying, we will control you, we will win this game. And then they had the Wraith King, which we saw also being played by Alliance yesterday. It's a wonderful soaking up hero. You then have Razor as well as Storm Spirit. We've got good initiation, we've got good control, and we've got late game tower pushing as well coming out with obviously like the refresher Aghanims. If you can get to that on the Razor, you're able to burst through the Rakdos. I'm loving that from EG, but Navi also have a lot of things working against the EG lineup.
They have one of their favorite combos, I guess you could say. Navi is one of the teams that, across the entirety of Dota 2, I think have played some of the most Invoker, I think. Dendi is very famous for that hero, of course, and the amount of combinations that Navi have tried to play that hero, and I think they've tried so many different ways of running that Invoker. And in this game, I think it was a good last pick because they have the setup Chronosphere, they have the kinetic field from the Disruptor and a lot of other teamfight presence, and they know going into the teamfights against this EG lineup, which will inevitably happen, they need enough AoE damage to actually take down these heroes. So what Navi are aiming for is, I would be shocked if this is not a Quasi-Exort Invoker, because they need the damage from him in this game. And
would you still want to do that though, when you have like heroes like Wraithing as well as Storm Spirit controlling their mana level? Wouldn't you flag that up a little bit higher? Or are you just thinking one charges will save them?
The EMP would be really good against Wraith King, that's true. But I think the reasoning here, or the reason why I would think Quasic Sword is better is, first of all, I think he could put more pressure in the lane in this particular game.
That's true.
And secondly, they want ideally to get the Chronosphere on heroes like Tide and Enigma, and they want to kill them during the Chrono. And we know when Dendi plays this Quasic Sword Invoker and he gets into the mid game when he's about level, I don't think, 13, 14-ish, which he gets pretty fast if he gets a Hand of Midas. You will have that massive combo with the Deafening Blast Meteor and a Sunstrike as well. So anywhere the Void finds an initiation with a Chronosphere, I think the Sunstrike will be a huge part of this game, actually.
That's true.
And
like, even with like the rest of the Na'Vi lineup, like with Glimpse pullback into Void Walk, as well as like having the kinetic field up, you're going to hold someone in position for a very long time. Like, you have to really be dodging inside of that kinetic field. You don't really have a lot of space to move inside of that.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that they need to be really careful with here, though. Na'Vi, of course, as you mentioned, EG has incredible teamfight, and I love to see EG going. They're showing confidence right here. I think it's not that frequently that we see a team picking Storm into Doom, because they knew Doom was picked by Na'Vi already in the first phase, and they were like, okay, so the way we're going to play this Storm is that we will try to catch out the Doom, so Storm doesn't get doomed, and then they either burst down the Doom or he jumps around a lot. But then Na'Vi, with the Void pickup, with the Disruptor pickup, they actually have quite a few counters to the Storm. But if those abilities are used, this is a game in which I think Storm can kill a lot of targets and give a lot of control for EG. In my book, I am not completely sure why they went for the Razor. I think it's, in many games, it's really good for lane control if you're playing against a melee hero, and maybe they want to put him up against the Void in the lane.
Yeah.
But Razor versus Invoker can be good in the start, in the very early laning stage. I'm assuming the Razor goes mid in this game.
Yeah.
But after that, if it's a Quasic Sword Invoker, when he starts getting up the Forge Spirits, he can, I think he's going to overtake that lane, even against a player like Arteezy.
I'm wondering if even Na'Vi, I wouldn't say they dodge, because we know the lanes can switch around. We've seen Invokers even running off lanes recently as well, with the Voids going in towards the middle lane. I know, like we were also saying before, like we're watching a Chinese team, the second that Void comes up, you're like, all right, it's going to be a mid lane solo kind of thing. So both teams actually have options as well about where they can switch their lanes up. Like, do we try and go for a dodge or not? EG, it's only literally the question of where Storm Spirit and Razor end up. For Na'Vi, it's like the question of where Invoker and Void and Doom all like slip into the mix up here too. But we just assume Doom to go inside that jungle because it is being played up by Kuro, our resident German. For Na'Vi, man, a lot of it's going to come down to the early game. And the more and more I think about it, that Exort build on the Invoker, I'm 100% with you. Like, Dendi has to have influence so early on in this game. He can't just sit back and say, I'll get a Hand of Midas, I'll wait for my supports to come and roam and gank. Because you've got a Doombringer as well as a Disruptor. Like, Glimpse is the only thing which could catch someone out of position in the middle lane and get a kill. And on a Storm Spirit, that'll be completely useless. Even on Razor, it's quite good, but Razor's got very high movement speed. And that could actually cause some problems as well. But either way, we're getting into the game finally, so the game has been unpaused, and we have Funnick back in as the Natus Prophet. So we're good and ready to rock and rumble, peoples. Na'Vi vs EG, game number 1 of day 2 of the ESL 1, coming to you live from the Commerzbank Arena here in Frankfurt, Germany.
Now, let me have the honor of introducing Team Evil Geniuses. On the Dire side, it's going to be Universe playing his, I believe, 8-0 Tidehunter. Let's see if he can continue his amazing streak, or if it comes to an end here. We've had one streak ended, which was IG being 15-0 with Shadow Shaman, and then they lost game 2 to Mouse. So one streak has been ended. Let's see if EG is well as well in this game. And we've got PPD playing as the support Wraith King. We've got Zai on Enigma. We've got Arteezy playing as the Razor, and finally Mason will be playing as the Storm Spirit. Give us a round of applause for Team EG.
Is at this point, I think I get to take the easy role here, Cinderin. So running through the lineup here for the boys from Ukraine, Estonia, as well as Russia. We have Na'Vi. It is going to be Horvorst as the Faceless Void, and we have Puppy taking up the role as the Disruptor. That leaves Dendi on the role as the Invoker. We have Kuro as the Doombringer, and that leaves our last one for the Natus Prophet. It will be played by their offlaner, Funnick. So of course, let's just get it. Let's a toe in the water. How many people here are actually cheering for Na'Vi?
right, I think that's a clear majority for EG.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you say?
I was thinking it was going to be a little bit more balanced, man. Like, I know Na'Vi, like, you basically bleed Na'Vi blood if you're a follower for these guys, but EG does exactly the same thing with their followers. I thought we might have actually had a couple more EG fans here in Germany, but I suppose the German is on the Na'Vi lineup. But either way, we're now into our lanes, so what we do get is Razor. It will be Arteezy tagged up as Allison. They'll be going up against Dendi in the middle lane, which means we do actually see the safe lane Storm Spirit.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of farm in this game. Nature's Prophet doesn't really have too much lane presence against the Storm Spirit with any sort of support in the top lane, but what I'm really curious about in this game is this reminds me of something Na'Vi used to do, I think almost a year back or maybe more. When enemies were playing greedy, they would just play greedy as well and be like, okay, so you want to run an Enigma jungle, we're going to run Doom jungle. They know that Enigma will be faster, but Doom can definitely have an impact later on, and I think Na'Vi were nervous that if they got 2 roaming lane supports and they didn't win the early game, they would just flat out lose on economy. So they're making sure they can keep up with Kuro in that jungle position with Doom, which is actually played fairly rarely at this point, mainly off lane or safe lane farming, but interesting to see Na'Vi pull out I don't know, should we call that an old strategy or at least something, yeah, it's been a while since I saw that.
It's something very Kuro-ish, like he loves taking these heroes towards the jungle. I know Na'Vi, you're right, it is kind of like that kind of thing. Like, if you can try and experiment with someone to run the jungle, back in the days, like even Puppy was playing support Storm Spirit inside the jungle, so he was able to do that, running bottle first on Storm Spirit. So yeah, they mix up with different things, but as you said before, the Doombringer is very, very efficient as far as economy-wise inside the jungle. Obviously, nowhere near as fast as the Enigma. Zion will definitely have that on him, but they're watching to see when Zion's going to come and make some kind of movement. While they didn't actively block up his camps, which is something which we don't actually normally see. You normally think like, hey, level 1 will go in, but Na'Vi probably don't favor the level 1 farming. They just get this one observer ward that's watching for the Enigma and its movement towards Dendi. And that's the primary thing. You've got to know when the supports from EG will rotate down to try and just influence the control of the Invoker in the mid.
Yeah, especially now that that Cold Snap was nerfed. I think was it last version or the one before. It was a pretty significant nerf to Cold Snap, which made Invoker weaker with every single build because no matter what you went for, you would always get Cold Snap. That was like the quintessential skill for Invoker. We're actually going to try to see an initiation here in mid from Na'Vi. There's a prod.
TPing in. They're going to go, and that's going to be Razor. He's trying to go for the Hoofstorm Kuro. They have enough damage from Funnick. They've got first blood underneath the tier 1 tower in the mid. It was at the perfect time as well. PPD grabbed the Invis rune and he was heading north. He was looking for the kill on Funnick, and the fact that Funnick came to join them actually completely screwed up the EG gank on the top lane.
No one expects the level 2 Doom gank.
The funny thing is though, like he brought 2 right clicks and a Scorched Earth, but the Hoof Stomp actually missed.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't get close enough, fast enough.
I believe on all levels of Scorched Earth, the damage is actually enough to proc Cold Snap, so because of that, it's actually a decent way of ganking the mid hero, but if Funnick doesn't port in there, that kill doesn't happen. But this is a classic Na'Vi play. They love getting aggressive early on with their offlane Prophet. Other teams focus a lot more on just playing the lane and maybe even going into the jungle a little bit, but if there's one team that loves these early Prophet ganks, I think it's got to be Na'Vi. And it's also a kind of a tradition in Russia and Ukraine for those teams. A player that comes to mind who would always play ridiculously aggressive early on with the Prophet would be PGG. I guess you can remember that. So there's kind of a legacy there.
I remember his DD rune. I remember his DD
Oh my god,
rune.
that game. Yeah.
The people who don't know what I'm referring to, I'm actually trying to remember the exact game for it, but someone will find the replay and put it in the chat. Either way, the one lane which we haven't really touched on at all is the offlane. The Tidehunter, like, we still have to remember that this Tidehunter exists. And the combination with the Enigma, because you have a Tidehunter which can get really, really close up against the Faceless Void, it means you're getting a very quick level 6 over on this Tidehunter with some really decent farm as well, because the Anchor Smash makes it so Void can't really harass him. And Puppy, like, Thunderstrike is all he's really got. And that kind of damage up against a Tidehunter is negligible.
Yeah, we're going to see them try to maybe go on Universe here. Puppy's coming in from the back with a level 2 Glimpse as well. Will use the Thunderstrike first. Needs to Glimpse now if he wants to, but Universe doesn't care. Just kind of man-fight him here and force him away.
Universe is so tanky that, like, that Puppy has no chance of battling him, like, man-to-man like that one. And Havort has no interest in doing this. Until he has Chrono up and running, he won't even consider going in for a gank. And they'll need Prophet Ultimate to also be there for them, because I don't think they have enough damage with just the 2 of them down there. they will need 3 heroes.
And Universe is making the most of this situation. He's a very good offlaner at getting as much out of the lane as possible. If it's a hard lane, he will generally not, he generally doesn't die in his off lanes unless there's a really good reason to. And in this game, he's got 17 CS at a 5-minute mark in the dire off lane in a 1-on-2, which is very unusual. But just the nature of this lane, Disruptor is really not the strongest lane support in the beginning, and the synergy with Void isn't really that good. So because of that, Universe is just making the most of the situation, and he's almost level 6 at 5 minutes, as we're going to see a rotation from EG.
Yeah, they had to start doing something about this. When you look at the hand of Midas recipe over on Vorst, 5 minutes into the game, you know you're giving him just a little bit too much space to play with here. Also, Denny's having a little bit of trouble himself on very, very low life, so being harassed out a little bit by Arteezy, and now the smoke will break. So
Puppey.
PPD, he's going to find Puppey, gets the other side of the fog of war, but it's like a midnight pulse, just land clearance here, and Puppey, the field will come up in the Thunderstrike, but he is so totally dead. Same time, Dendy battling up underneath the tower. Arteezy will actually die to Kuro under the tier 1 tower.
Oh, look at how low he brought those 2 heroes. Arteezy must have been really close to getting a double kill there while we were watching bottom. And actually, EG are they're just setting up a tent down here with 3 heroes guarded by a few blue men, and they're going to go the black hole.
They hold him there. He's just waiting it out to help by a blast. He needs backtrack challenges. Ravage will go. Hits on Puppey. They're going to turn this into 2 right now, EG. Puppey, no way out of here. The wall will hold PPD in here, but they just switch the aggro out. So EG able to pick up 2 kills in the bottom lane.
And this is what generally happens in EG's games if you don't counter out Zai in that jungle. He had a level 6 at 5 minutes. With his Enigma, and the moment he's level 6, they make a rotation. They secure 3 kills with that rotation, as well as a tier 1 tower. So whatever happened in that mid lane is not really that big of a deal. Sure, Arteezy is 0-2, but how many games have we seen this team where the opposite team really counter out Arteezy, but it just makes so much space for the other heroes or the other players to take over the game, and Arteezy gets his comeback later on. He's still got 30 CS after all at 7 minutes, which isn't too bad considering he got ganked twice, and now with that tower going down, I think Arteezy being behind doesn't matter when you've got a level 6 Tide and a level 7, almost 8 Enigma at 7 minutes.
And look at his money coming into this. He's got a full, get him back by 7 minutes into the game. You know you're doing good. With the highest net worth also on the field here for anyone. He's actually beating the Storm Spirit safely. Now, mid lane, the Sunstrike actually connects on PPD. He backed up the Cold Snap. It's actually going to be enough with the Thunderstrike. There goes your Wraith King and the Glimpse, sending him back. So Na'Vi able to get a quick kill here from the Wraith King.
I love seeing Na'Vi's play there with Puppey backing out, as well as Dendy. The Wraith King wasn't actually dead yet, but there was Thunderstrike on him, and they knew that Prophet's ultimate was going to hit him. Actually, speaking of Prophet, he is not going to survive this. Mason gets the kill. Actually running the... Is it correct to call that the Eternal Envy build? I think he was the first player I saw running that. The Soul Ring on Storm Spirit actually makes a lot of sense, because the way his ultimate works, it has a base mana cost, and then it's percentage based how much mana it costs. It's out of your entire mana pool. So with the Soul Ring, you actually get a big burst in your mana pool relative to how big it is. So you get that extra bit of jump that he actually used very well here to finish off Funnick, and it's a great counter pick to a Prophet as well.
Man, there's a big push coming up on top lane. A big wave of Enigma conversions, Mason as well. And, well, Kuro, he is up here on the top lane. This is a level 6 Doombringer, so this should be taken into account where Storm Spirit can't just jump and be free and merry. He must be careful about getting locked in there, but it doesn't really matter. When you have Na'Vi like that, the tier 1 tower will always go down. And they're waiting for an opening here, but nothing really showing up, while Universe continues to battle up against Divorce in this bottom lane. Mr. Hand of Midas, but no real influence just yet. And Dendy also, he's a hero who has managed to find a couple of kills in middle lane, but there's no rotations. The Sunstrike's been here and there, but again, no real early game presence where EG, they're all over the map and they're pressuring Na'Vi on all sides.
And with that pressure, they've already managed to accumulate a 5,000 gold lead. It's actually pretty amazing considering it's 9 minutes in and it's 4-3, but that's the 2 towers as well as just the amazing farm that both Mason and Zai have managed to pick up here. So not looking too good for Na'Vi in the early game. The way they can come back from this, I think, revolves a lot around Puppey getting the level 6 at this point. They have all the other ultimates, which are really strong, but I think the static Storm is going to be really important. It's going to disallow Storm from jumping around. If he catches Tide with it before the Ravage, he obviously has to move out of it. It's not an ability you can just crack and chill off. And also the Enigma, who, by the way, has already got his next item. It took him, oh wow, it took him 2 minutes to get that, really?
This is a really farmed up Enigma, man.
Zai is bringing his A game today, I'll tell you what.
And when you get such an injection of money early on, like you got a free jungle, most Enigmas we've been watching, over the course like the last 2 weeks professional Dota, every single part of their jungle is being warded up. It's really difficult to move anywhere. And this is like a major issue for Enigma. It's like, I remember I was watching one game, the Fly was playing for Fnatic, and he had 2 camps available, and all he could do was basically just stack one of them because the other camp was too close to the enemy. And he still was able to farm up. But when you get like a free jungle for Enigma, you move so quickly, get such high money, and also good denial. Taking out that DD Rune in the bottom lane. They are making sure that EG do not have any extra power here.
Yeah, interesting to see. Look at the Wraith King. He's level 6, and he's still not skilling his ultimate, which is very, very unusual. I'm not sure what he's holding onto the point for. This is a good treant here, by the way, by Funnick.
Yep.
What's the logic behind this, of not skilling the ultimate? It's maybe so he has the choice of whether he thinks it's worth... let's say he gets caught out alone, and the ultimate will be useless in that situation. So he just dies and dies again. He chooses to not skill it so that in the situation when he's under the pressure, he can decide whether he actually wants it to go on that 4-minute cooldown. I think that's the reasoning, and if it is, that's really smart. I've never seen that done before, actually, so loving this from PPD. Okay, now he's like, okay, it's time, guys. The situation will be, I'm gonna die to Roche. So I'm gonna pick it up right now.
The Prophet Ollie is not making this easy for him, but the mech is there from Zai. The medallion's gonna be more than enough negative armor. They'll work through Roshan. The downside is, it took 4 heroes from EG just to make sure they could ensure this. And in the meantime, you've got a Doombringer Devourer at 4 levels up. You've got Void who's using Hand of Might, also farming up. This game is not really meant for like, hey, okay, we lost Roshan, the first one went down. That's a nice little advantage here and there. Some tier 1 towers went down here and there too. This game is for the long haul, man. Like, if you're thinking like going out to the parking lot, having a cigarette in like 20 minutes time from now, you're not going to. Save your body and wait until the 60-minute mark. That's how long this game will go for.
I don't think so,
you think it's going to be over quicker than that?
Just the way EG has been playing recently, especially when they get this kind of start, I have this feeling that now that they got Roshan as well, they're going to try to be pressuring their advantage. And if the next fight goes EG's way, I don't think this game will go much longer than 30 minutes. But if Na'Vi get the team they need,
yeah,
then it's going to be a long game. But it's a big but, I think, because, no pun intended, but it's like EG have so many ways of taking the fight that there's a lot of pressure on Na'Vi. I think their team fight combination is harder to pull off. It's more restricted to specific ways of play, whereas EG have more options. So things need to happen in a very specific way for Na'Vi, which they are really good at making them happen in that way, though. But it is still hard, and against a team like EG,
they're going to go top lane. There's your jump in. The prep was there. Zai, he'll have to commit Black Hole if he wanted that kill, and they can't jump in any deeper. Kuro was also waiting up here. Initially, it was meant to be a Kuro as well as a Vorse gank on the top. But turned into EG being the initiators, and Vorse goes all the way back to base to heal up. PPD stunning towards Dandy, but the 4-star brings him very much into safety. And with Puppy also with the neighborhood, having that static storm as well as Glimpse actually is dragging PPD back a little bit further. And the wall does come up, but Zai's also rotated towards the middle lane. So the mech has come to mid as well as both Ravage on the back of a Blink Dagger, and of course the Enigma Black Hole. It's all up and running. EG, this could be your fight you're talking about, man. And Na'Vi may just not want to take it. They let it go. Tier 1 towers for them, okay, fair enough, we understand it, but if they take the fight, they lose so much more. Danny's staying close enough for a denial, but he can't get him. That's too much from EG there.
Yeah, I was considering whether Na'Vi actually wanted to try to take that fight because they knew Mason used his entire mana pool in the attempt to kill Vost up top, so they must have known that EG were actually playing that one as a 4-on-5, but they're still not confident enough. They know there's a Blink Dagger on Tide, they know they have the Aegis on Arteezy, so there's too much from EG for Na'Vi to fight like this right now. They have to get... let's try to see what do Na'Vi need to do to accomplish a good team fight. They have to get a Chrono off on at least 2 targets. I think one doesn't... It's not enough, even if it's the best possible target. So a 2-target Chrono or more.
The Doom has to be on the Storm.
Comboed with Invoker, and Doom needs to be on...
You say Storm or Enigma in this case?
Maybe even Tide, just because he can't Kraken it off, so they know they're not going to get Ravaged, and maybe they can play around the Enigma a bit more since he doesn't have a Blink Dagger. So I think if they can Doom the Tide, that's the best target at this point, because else he will always counter-initiate on them with the Blink. But it's really hard to find Universe. He will always be in a sneaky position and come out of nowhere with the Blink Dagger. So Na'Vi definitely on the back foot here. You're looking at the net worth top 3 currently for EG, and that's with a Midas Void. He is still behind both Enigma, Razor,
Look
and
what he's
Storm.
building into as well. Like, most Faceless Boys we've seen through the competition, I mean, looking for like early Mask of Madness, you try and find some extra damage with a Maelstrom, but this almost looks like a Necro Book build coming out from Void.
It's a build I don't think I've seen since the Complexity days. They started playing that because the way Chronosphere works, Void, as well as any units under Void's control, can move freely in the Chronosphere. So that means Necro Book, Manta Style, etc. can be used in the Chrono. And maybe it's just a strategy from Na'Vi. Okay, they're like, so what you talked about with the Quaswex build Invoker could have gone for. They want some sort of mana drain so that they can either drain all Tide's mana so he can't Ravage, or they can kill Wraith King without having to kill him twice. So I really love the Necro Book build here, especially since I don't think Havos needs to do massive physical damage in the early game. They have a Doom to deal damage, they have a Prophet, and the Invoker with great damage too. So later on, of course, he will be transforming into, whatever, into a more carry-oriented build. But I love seeing the book, if nothing else, for variety. It's something different.
Yeah. Well, Na'Vi like to do that, man. I'm also loving it, just to point it out, because I know we haven't touched on it really just yet, is the warning from EG. You take out all the Tier 1 towers and you want to establish a nice perimeter on the front lines. They've got a really wonderful ward right now that sees up into the lane, down towards the camps. It's in a really good position. And then looking deeper into the Radiant jungle, you got this little sucker right here. And that sees down towards the tower. So anytime Na'Vi try and move out on the southern part of the map, they will be spotted out here by EG. At the same time, Na'Vi do the same thing up against EG. Observer wall between the Tier 1, Tier 2 tower, as well as inside the Dire Side jungle. So they're looking all over the map, each team trying to know what's happening in the enemy's jungle. At the same time, Na'Vi keep losing map control. And this is, like, the wards only do half of it. Yeah, he's really close right now, but Puppey is also here, and they're watching him perfectly where he's moving. So Puppey can just glimpse him away. There's no problem with that one.
It's going to be the haste, though.
Yeah, but Doom is also here.
He's going to come for the plasma.
Ah, Puppey's dead. Puppey is dead. Even if he threw the ulti out, Razor gets the last, even though Mason actually jumps over the top of him. But they got chased down deeper. Oh, Funnick, he's TPing out this one right now. Has to turn and fight this one. Kuro, Hawkstomp, turns on the ulti, level dead, bonus damage on Mason. Kuro brings him down. The denial! He's got the denial from Arteezy. There's a double kill right now. Funnick, he's trying to bail out.
He's a pretty good player in my opinion. Oh, PPD.
Yeah, that's a good ulti from
That's the first life Ravage.
Enigma's still got Black Hole as well, but Divorce's already dead. So he's down the sidelines for that one. I love how Tua gave Arteezy a double kill for denying up his own teammate. Props to the system. But now Arteezy pushing out Dendi. The stun will come towards Puppey, but they're making sure there's no static storm and they can just force this Tier 2 tower in the middle lane.
Yeah. The whole movement from EG so far in this game has been absolutely beautiful. They're outmaneuvering Na'Vi. You see, they haven't even traded a tower yet. They've got... This is the 5th tower of the game that they claim. Na'Vi hasn't been able to take a Tier 1. And it's just EG's movement around the map that comes at such a good time that they've pushed out the other lanes. So when Na'Vi realized EG had 5 heroes at the bottom lane, or 4, and they started pinging the top tower, it was already too late. So EG again coming out massively ahead here. PPD's going to take that last hit on the tower with his Wraith King, and now 5-0 on towers, 10,000 gold lead. It's going to be really difficult for Na'Vi to come back with this. And I also don't think they've drafted necessarily a much better mid-late game lineup than EG has. It has to go super late before Na'Vi takes over, in my opinion, so they've got a long road ahead of them. 600 net worth Disruptor as well. He's one of the best heroes with low net worth.
I'm actually wondering if like this game goes 60 minutes, if it will be enough time. Because you still got to take into account, like, the BKB timing is going to be dependent, like, what Tidehunter can do there. But you're looking at like, an Enigma, who's already, like, basically close to finishing up the BKB. Oh, nice courier snipe. That's going to be a point booster which they get rid of. So a nice little snipe out there by Funnick. And Havos is already just staring down Universe. There's a Tier 1 tower with his name on now. Universe jumps in with the Anchor Smash, so Havos basically does literally no damage. But they're bringing in a lot more support towards the middle lane. The Necro Book level 1 being purchased up here by Denny, but it's not here for this engagement just yet. It's only the Havos one which is here.
Is there anything this guy can't do, right? Is there anything? Gets everything. Okay, so he's got those kills. He got the deny top, really clutch deny on Mason. Now he gets a really clutch deny on the tower RTZ.
He's got Ag in him.
He had a little bit of a hard start. He got ganked twice, and now he's rolling with it. 114 CS, 2-2, so he picked up 2 kills, 2 denies. He's the 2 guy in this game, and like you said, a full Ags with drums at 19 minutes. That's pretty damn good.
I'm not quite sure he's meant to keep up with. I still can't believe that Enigma is still the highest net worth on the field. No matter how this game keeps going, Zai just keeps dragging in more and more money across the board. And now Void Chrono over on Mason. Puppy's going to be here as well. Doesn't have to throw out the ultimate. Just a level Death and Sunstrike was enough for it. So they do get the pick off here on the Storm Spirit. Very quick, very snipe out kill.
They need to turn this into something more. The problem for Na'Vi in this game is that they haven't got a single collateral. No Tower, no Roshan, just 5 kills and a bit of farm, but they're getting out-farmed anyway.
Voss is going to try and solo up this tier 1 tower with his Necro units.
It's really cool to see this, actually.
It's
There's the TP from RTZ, so it's probably going to last to that as well. Yeah, why not? Bonus gold right there.
Yeah, he's got bottle charges, he's okay.
But Na'Vi can't really get this tower, that's the problem. They committed the Chronosphere already to killing Mason, so they don't want to fight into a top tier 1 when they know Universe has Blink Dagger and Ultimate ready again. What do you think about Prophet in this game? This was a trend that Bulldog started, getting the Blink Dagger so you can split push a lot better and play a lot more safe and be more mobile in the fights.
I like the build, I like the pickup. I don't like it up against the Storm Spirit. That's where you really hurt with this Blink Dagger kind of build, because you blink inside the trees and get yourself out. So most of the time it's meant to be for low maneuverable lineups. You just can't catch the Prophet all the time when he's doing split pushing, but Storm Spirit, if he has enough mana, he just keeps going and he catches him. So he's basically really low on mana here, Mason, but the Orchid's already gave his effect with the Gush coming in from Universe. You got really high maneuverable heroes here from EG, which makes this build with a Blink Dagger Prophet really, really susceptible to ganks.
That's true. I think Storm is already one of the best heroes against Prophet, and then when you go for the Blink Dagger build, you're investing 2,000 gold into a little bit of elusiveness that Storm doesn't care about. So, I'm not sure that was a good choice in this game. It used to work up against
things like Shadowblade, because then you actually have Invis to play, so if you didn't bring the Dust, you wouldn't get yourself the kill. But after Shadowblade got nerfed, everyone tried to do the Blink Dagger, but Storm doesn't care when you can't hide from him.
This is just a clinical display from EG. It's very rare that you see a team ahead by 3 kills 21 minutes in that has a 12,000 gold lead. They've drained the map of resources, they're out-farming Na'Vi on 3 heroes, they've taken 6 towers, and I imagine they're going to control the map until they feel comfortable going in, which will probably be with the next Roshan and maybe a little bit extra. Maybe they want to get a pipe at this point. Oh, they actually have it, never mind. Universe has the pipe, so...
He spent a lot of money for that one. Funnick got to blink himself away right now, away from PPD. The fortification is in the tree line, but he's visible because he attacked, so they could see him in there for the moment. Now PPD gets up high. Funny's just trying to finish off the tower. He can TP in 1 second time, and now he can go, but it's already too late. Trying to sprout to protect himself, but death comes to the Nature's Prophet. The tier 1 tower at least did go down, and it was in favor of Nature's Prophet. So we got the catch for that, but he's on the sidelines for 34 seconds.
That was a good trade by Funnick, but the question is if he actually needed to stick around for that, or if, was it worth dying so that it didn't get denied, is the question?
Not really.
I don't think so either.
And it wasn't really his choice. If he didn't attack from inside the tree line, I don't think Wraith King would have got vision on him. So then it would have been...
This is a really decisive moment right now with both teams hanging around here. Na'Vi are getting pushed in pretty hard in the bottom lane, so they must have a feeling that something is going on. There's the ping on Roshan by Kuroki, and as always in this game, EG are 1 step ahead. When Na'Vi figure it out, it's already too late. They get the Aegis on the Storm Spirit. As we talked about yesterday in the series, one of the best Aegis carriers in the game. And even though that Necronomicon 3 is now done on Havost, I think the problem Na'Vi are going to have going into a team fight now is that there's 2 heroes on EG with 2 lives, and they have the superior team fight, and they have a pipe. I could imagine EG trying to breach high ground really soon, and if Na'Vi make one mistake in that fight, the game is pretty much over. That's how far behind they are.
It's going to get worse and worse and worse. When Mason's able to finish up a Bloodstone, if that is actually going to be a Refresher Orb instead of a Lincoln Sphere over on the Enigma, like, life's going to get so difficult for Na'Vi. And Void Chrono, when maximum amount of people, is all that's going to really save him. And very luckily for Void, he's just jumping himself away from Arteezy. They're getting a little bit closer towards the action. But we're 23 minutes in, and there's still more trouble coming in until Na'Vi... Like, are they going to try and force the hand of EG here? Because taking a 5v5 fight doesn't really seem to be the best way of dealing with this.
The thing is, Na'Vi is one of the best teams in the world at... when they're behind, they don't get contained in their base, because they know that's the one way to absolutely lose the game. If you're behind, you have to try to search for something yourself. You have to get out on the map, and maybe a pickup is going to open itself up to you. When the enemy team is trying to split farm, like EG are doing right now, maybe you can catch them off guard and get a couple of kills. If Na'Vi just sit in their base and let EG control the map, they have lost the game in 10 minutes, no matter what. So they have to try to find something, but they didn't find anything. So EG kind of figures it out here and don't get caught out. And I want to mention something about Mason's build in this game, because it's not that common we see a Storm Spirit go for an Orchid and then after that go into the Bloodstone. But I think in this game it's really good. Mostly Storm Spirits will go Orchid into BKB, but he's up against the Chronosphere and he's up against Doom. So he wants to just be as hard to kill as possible and as necessary to kill as possible at the same time. Na'Vi have to kill him or he's going to bring them down, and they have to bring him down twice because he has the Aegis and 1500 health and 9 armor. Yep. It's a very tanky hero with a lot of potential here from Mason. So
it's actually even
build.
harder to kill him once Zai actually gives him his Lincoln Sphere charge too. So Kuro getting that Doombringer up on him is
the charts.
Yeah, I know,
14,000 net worth. He's actually out farming the Razor and Storm by about 2.5 to 3k gold.
This has to be like the fattest enigma we've seen in a very, very long time.
200 CS at 24 minutes in on a position 4 hero. That you see, that's what you generally get on a carry hero if you have free farm, and he's got it on the position 4. If you're giving EG Enigma, you need to be really careful. You need to have some sort of way of dealing with it. And Zai has not been countered at all this game. He's got completely free reign of his own jungle, of his rotations, and Na'Vi haven't been able to find a solution. The draft in this game, I just haven't even seen it come into play. We haven't seen a single Chronosphere that wasn't on a single target. They haven't found a team fight.
Yeah. You're right, man. But EG aren't giving it to them. The second there's a team fight, you know they're going to... Like, EG will have the initiation because the Blink Tide, you got the follow-up from Enigma, you got all these different things which make it almost impossible to really fight. Now, Kuro, he can see the Storm Spirit, but they also just threw down a very fresh Observer Ward down there, so it's going to block up Kuro's camp as well, which is going to be slightly frustrating to him.
It's a really good ward,
easy money.
This one. Blocking as well as seeing in 2 directions here, it's a great coverage. Aggressive ward. And in EG's position, why wouldn't you ward aggressively? Also, this one up here is pretty unlikely to get counter-warded at this point. I don't think it's that obvious. And again, we're seeing Na'Vi on the move if they can find anything. Is the question down the bottom lane is going to be Havost found out.
Backtrack.
He's dead.
Can't do it enough. And the second he backtracks, Mason just took a hell of a lot of damage then. But he knows too, the Bloodstones arrived, the Lincoln Spheres arrived, and the 4 Staffs arrived for Universe. The Pack Horse coming all the way down the bottom lane. And, well, there's no one from Na'Vi defending this bottom lane. No one's at home right now as EG enter the front door of Na'Vi. And the TPs are going to come back. So Denny's arriving, Meteorite comes down, and there's the protection. It's the Lincoln Sphere over on Mason, so Doombringer can't do anything against him. And they've already got this tier 3 tower down to half-life. Mason, he's just trying to jump and evade, lets the creep wave come in. I think he was trying to keep the catapult alive more than anything else. The EG back up. They got themselves a kill on the Void. They got all their items up and they did some damage to the tier 3 tower. It's a win on any front, and they may as well even just wait for the next Roshan if they feel that passive.
It's very rare that Na'Vi has 5 kills in a 27-minute game. I just want to point that out. EG are not being caught out at all. They're reading the movement very well. They're playing just their A-game. This is some of the best Evil Geniuses play I've seen, which actually says a lot because they play really, really well. But just clinical display right here. And a comeback from Na'Vi in this game would be absolutely insane. It's not just about the graphs and the lead, it's just the control EG has had in this game. It has to be getting to Na'Vi mentally that they just have to be feeling helpless at this point. They're not finding anything, and EG has to be so comfortable knowing that no matter where they go, it just seems like everything turns out in their favor. And maybe now we're going to see the base push that I was waiting for. What did I say? It could be a 30-minute game if Na'Vi didn't have a great team fight. We'll see if this team fight goes the way of EG, Na'Vi's going to call GG.
Oh yeah, 100%.
True in 30 minutes.
Like Puppy's sitting there with 1,500 net worth. He's got nothing in this game. Havos needs like the greatest ultimate he could possibly get now. He's got Zai and Mason right next to each other, but it's a bait because Universe is sitting right behind it, ready to blink over the Chrono. Now Chrono goes out. He starts on the Enigma. Does he go for the Ravage? Universe is holding onto it, and Zai, he's almost dead. The mech charge going. Now your Ravage will come in. They've already got the kill on Denny. The Black Hole with Goro and Havos. They are locked in position. The buyback comes out from Puppy, and Bunny actually with some space. A boss, he's able to actually jump himself out. Kuro's going to get stunned. It's a 2-for-2 trade-off. And Mason, he's coming in, but the static storm. Mason, the attack is not enough. He's stuck too close towards the tower. A lot of damage, but he's got 10 Bloodstone charges and the Aegis the Immortal. Mason fears no evil from the Aegis. It's so close to being reclaimed. It goes down 3 seconds away from it being reclaimed. Now, Kuro's here with Doom. They can go on him straight away. There's no Lincoln Sphere protection. The Hawk Stomp, and even using to commit suicide. The Glimpse, however, dragging PPD back. Where's your time lock? There's your time lock? Again, the song PPD. The ulti will go off. He'll come back up again. And Na'Vi, they are actually claiming this fight. PPD trying to fight up against the Force. Time walk off cooldown 1 second. They don't need it, but maybe he will now. Jump it up, bash it out. The gem is lost as well. And Na'Vi, they finally get something of an advantage against this Team EG while they were trying to push into the high ground.
I can't believe they won that fight.
I can't believe neither.
They win that fight.
Vorst got out on like a bee-stick of life.
He got a Chronosphere on one target, who still got a 2-man black hole off that lasted almost the entire duration. They got a Ravage on 3 heroes. Puppey bought back, which was the only buyback that Na'Vi actually pulled out. And you can say on Puppey it doesn't really matter whether he has a net worth of 1,500 or 1,000. It's kind of the same story, but...
The biggest thing was the fact that Mason he stuck around at the very last moment. It's like, oh, I'm going to bring down this tower and let the Aegis Immortal trigger, because that's what he wanted. He wanted full life as well as mana straight back again, or try and soak up at least one ability from Na'Vi,
now
and then jump.
Here's what I was thinking Mason could have done in that fight, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't think I've ever seen it before, so maybe that's why I didn't get the idea. If you have Aegis and you use your Bloodstone to suicide, do you respawn at the same point? Because he was out of mana and health. He could have killed himself willingly, respawn, and then go in and win the fight. Because the only reason EG lost that fight actually was that Mason was out of mana and he wasn't getting killed. Na'Vi were like, oh, he's out of mana, great, ignore him. Kill all the others, don't kill the Storm so he comes back and can kill us. And he couldn't really do anything there. I think if you suicide with Bloodstone, you have Aegis, you do respawn there, but that's a really special mechanic that that's like 1 out of 10,000 games you would actually use that, but in this case it could have maybe won the game.
I will refrain from mechanics and we'll let the panel decide that one later on. Right now though, I just want to flag again Zai. This guy is getting fatter and fatter. Even if he dies with 236 CS, he is sitting at the highest net worth. He's still 5,000 5,000 net worth in front of Funnick, who at this point is the only man getting a large amount of farm. He's got 2.7k gold on him. He can actually almost finish up his Mjolnir, which will help out like monumentally by putting that shield over on a Vorst, because then they get the extra damage during the team fight. Now,
here we go.
They jump in, and they actually got to be inside the BKB. Vorst jumps himself back out again with his Necro unit. Zai jumps in, no black hole, 7 seconds on cooldown for him. Mason's in as well, but Koro, the BKB will trigger. Doom still not off just yet. The Static Storm is out, and they're looking for a place to fight, but Hatizi still in the damage, 197 points, another 6 points taken. He's turning into a Vorst. They just pull out the damage. Malavist under Dendi. He doesn't force up available. Universe is on the other side of him. There's no mana for him. He just body blocks and lets EG take the fight. 3-0 on that one. The tier 2 tower still went down, but they got BKB charges out and EG take a very convincing engagement.
Yeah, this is what I think is going to happen in every single team fight if the Chrono is not more useful. In the previous fight, that's why I was really surprised Na'Vi won that fight in the bottom lane, because to me that Chrono wasn't that useful, but if nothing else, it put a lot of pressure on EG. This one didn't put any pressure. They got out the BKB from Arteezy, but at that point he's got 2,500 health with his current item build, and he's got BKB, and Void's item build with this Necro 3 is really not that useful when the target's in BKB, so he can't get the mana burn damage out. So Na'Vi were just like, okay, this Chrono's really not good, let's get out of here. And then they just get overrun by Enigma Malefice, Storm jumping in, a great Ravage from Universe, very timely again from him. This guy is a rock on this hero.
They got chased down. They got fully chased down. And when you commit like that, I don't think there was an option to pull out. I really don't. Because with the Blink Daggering of Enigma as well as Tidehunter, you know you're going to get caught unless everyone's got Blink Daggers and Force Staffs. You can't bail out of such an engagement. And of course knew it. Like he ran himself in there with his Necro units, got it off. He did 2 hits onto Arteezy and said, this is a really bad idea. I don't know if Puppey just screamed at him saying back or something along these lines, but they realized like mistakes were made once the BKB came up and they had to get out of there, but EG, great chase lineup, and they just picked him off.
Yeah, and as a result of that, I don't think they can go high ground at this point, because EG's lineup is of course heavily built around their AoE ultimates. They've got a 50-second cooldown on Ravage that I think they're just going to wait for and secure the next Roshan first. So we see Na'Vi scouting it out here with the Nature's Prophet. But, you know, Na'Vi's best chance in this game is actually to get a fight in the Roche Pit. They have a lineup that can contest EG in these narrow areas, but it has to come down to a really great Chrono from Havost. If that whiffs again, EG are just going to take the fight with their, you know, the problem is, even with a good Chrono, how are EG ever going to get all of their key heroes gone out?
You're in trouble,
there
Mason.
We go. That could be
the opener for it. He can't BKB out this one. With a Horde Stomp, the Sunstrike won't connect, but Funnick comes in. There's your extra damage.
No
They're going to pick off. He is down 40 seconds because the Bloodstone charges though, so it's not as long on the sidelines. But Na'Vi, do they consider trying to take out Roshan? Or do they just try and force another engagement here and push up the middle lane?
I don't think they have the damage. If they want to bring down Roche, they have to bring in Havost and use the Necro Book on it, and I don't think that's enough, and the bottom lane is kind of falling apart, so Funnick is going to port back and defend this, but good pickup for Na'Vi. They buy themselves a bit of time once again and will now spread across the map and get themselves some more farm. And we haven't talked too much about Doom's transition in this game. I said if Na'Vi were to win this game, they have to go very late. Doom is one of the heroes who can actually... He's been played as position 4 in this game, and he's now starting to accumulate a lot of gold. He has a net worth of about 14,000.
Basically,
He's almost got a
already.
Shiva's guard at this point. He's going to use Midas and get 1 or 2 creeps, and then he's got it. But yeah, the question is if that's going to be enough. Of course, we've got some... with the BKBs coming out for EG, they have it on... Is that 3 out of 5 heroes have BKBs? So the Shiva's not really doing anything against that. A little bit, of course, but...
Unless he's trying to go for a scythe. Like, yeah. That might be the better option, man. That might be the better option.
I think just if Kuro doesn't get anything with armor, he's just going to fall apart to the Razor Ultimate draining his armor and just getting attacked down by pretty much everything. I think he had to go for a defensive item in this case, so I agree with the Shiva's choice, but now we need more time, and that's still going to be the problem for me if they can buy that time at this point. There's another
Funny's
Aegis
going to
now.
have to be the space creator, really. We saw it with Admiral Bulldog yesterday, and we could see it again here from Funny, but he'll have to be working a lot, like real overtime here. And he's trying to get into like his own scythe of ice, so he can be the disabler, but this means like the split push power really isn't anywhere near as strong. But at the same time, he needs to be that disable. He needs to be that guy that comes into the fights and can sit on the edge, throw out the damage on a hero who is hexed up, so there's no evasion helping him out, there's no BKB triggering off, and they just got like this chain stun straight away. But it's going to get really difficult, especially with Arteezy's next item. EG are rolling in the money.
Yeah, what did he just get? Oh,
Yeah.
he got the ace. Oh my goodness, yeah. This is... I think it's go time for EG again. I'm not sure what else they would want at this point. Universe is
Bottom ranks is what they
getting
want.
close. Okay, he's getting his Shivas now as well. So I think that's go time for EG. They have everything they need. They just need to gather up 5 heroes on the same lane. And this time I think they should be playing more aggressively with Mason. Force out the Doom on him. Since he has the Aegis, either get doomed or make sure you burn your entire mana pool trying to kill a target or 2, and then you can still use the Bloodstone Suicide. Just got a confirmation from BaseKip that it does in fact work the way I expected, so he will be able to pull off that play if he wants to. And
Bottom lane.
now, yep, here we go.
Yep, they're already
Now
going to
they're trying
enter
for
in.
the trade. I don't think they're going to be fast enough for this.
They're not fast enough. They tried to trigger the Prophet Ultimate, but the Prophet Ulti actually didn't hit the bottom lane. It got like 1 creep down there and that was all. But the Catapult's taking care of the tower. But Havorst and Funny are up here, and EG are backing up. Zai, there's your Black Hole and Havorst, and there's no follow-up. They're controlling him, but there's no damage. Havorst, BKB, leap and TP away to safety. They don't get anything. They have the Black Hole now on cooldown for a rather large period of time. And what was really the trade-off here? There was no damage towards the tower. You got the BKB on cooldown for a little bit longer for Havorst, but with the Black Hole down, it kind of works as well.
I think Zai was expecting Mason to TP up there, but he doesn't have a TP scroll. He doesn't have Boots of Travel yet. He's running around with Treads, and his 6th slot has been taken up by the Aegis. I think at this point you sell the Soul Ring and get a TP, actually. I think it's more important for Mason right now. And never mind. It is a Scythe for Kuro instead of the Shiva's Guard, so... He does want to lock down the Storm.
I think he still realizes, like, he doesn't have to be the big guy on the front lines that just tanks it up. If he actually takes more damage, then that's going to be okay. I know Razor, like, if he steals the damage, that's not okay. But they needed this. They really needed this. It's mainly to go up against that Storm Spirit, because Silence won't really work. Puppy getting completely caught out. Mason just a quick jump up after Universe finds him inside the jungle.
Well, he's got his point booster now. So,
yeah,
making some progress.
He also has Dendy's branch for some reason. He's just holding for Dendy.
It's like the good luck charm.
Top lane movement. There's your Scythe device already coming in. That's from Funnick, but he's caught inside the trees. The Doom Ring will go off here right now. Funnick, he's going to actually cut his way out of here. Blink that gets himself up. Sunstrike, perfect position from Dendy. They got themselves a kill. The level death will come. And now that's a worthwhile trade. 78 seconds is how long Arteezy has put in the sidelines, which it nerfs EG's push now. They can't go high ground against this.
And it was a kill streak as well.
Scythe.
Kuro grabbing 630 gold for that, and will just continue to farm up the Dire jungle here. EG will have an opening bottom lane, though. There's another big item coming out on Zai that I don't know if you saw yet, but it is pretty big and it is green. And in 70 seconds, he's going to have 2 of those holes that have a different color. So, yeah, we'll see if Na'Vi can defend it. But for now, I'm actually really impressed with how long they're holding on. They're at a 20k deficit and 25k experience deficit, and they keep finding pickoffs before EG gather up and go for their siege. So, if Na'Vi can continue to do this for long enough, I think maybe Void is going to be a threat, but his damage still leaves a lot to be desired. He has the Necro Book only as damage item. He has the BKB. We're going to need some way bigger items to come out from Havorst in the next 10 minutes, or You see, the problem is, even if they pull off the fight very well, the amount of options that EG has now with the Refresher, with all these ultimates, and with the Aegis on Storm, they can take this fight in so many different ways. They just need to have 5 heroes in the same lane.
The only thing I feel is a problem, and this is speaking from like experience of the T2CL final, like when you run Enigma and Tide, it's really great when you get all of this control, but it can be just like the Black Hole up on the top lane. Unless the damage is there, the Ravage and the Black Hole, having 2 of both of them, doesn't matter at all if you're able to tank it all up. So if that mech is there, if you just have Scorched Earth from Kuro or enough life points to survive it, you're gonna be okay. The Razor, as well as the Wraith King and Storm Spirit, these are the guys that really have to be in there, dishing out the damage. And right now, Razor still takes a little bit more time before he brings up a high amount of damage.
Think we're gonna get what you want right now?
Yeah, maybe.
4.
There's the Storm jump in. Orchid's over on Mason. Funnick, he's gonna fall with the Hex. They gotta back up right now. Necro units have been triggered off by Dendi as well. The Prophet Element trying to keep this creep wave out. But if Na'Vi tried to follow up that hill, it would have been an absolute disaster for them. And now Storm, long jump up, he goes for a boss, and Glimpse dragging Mason back and away from the fight. PPD being a little bit more spacious, and now her boss lets the Chrono go. The Meteorite's coming down, deafening blast for the Ravage from Universe. The entire Na'Vi lineup hit by it, and then there's Static Storm. Actually not making it easy for him, but they're inside the BKBs, they're okay. The Doom will actually tick it out while Funnick TP's in to ensure the kill. It's still a 2-for-1 at the moment, and they're just rampaging in EG, diving under the tier 4 towers, 4 stopping in. There's a double buyback coming out from Na'Vi. They will not want to let this Rice go, but all their ultimates are already used. Have also have to try and man-fight up against an Aghanim Scepter Razor, who's still got 224 points of damage stolen. Now it's going to wear off, but the bottom rank is toast, and EG will pull back. They got the buybacks, they got the racks, they got everything they were searching for.
Yeah, and that was even a good fight from Na'Vi, I think. Well, maybe the opening of the fight was really unfortunate because they actually glimpsed the guy they hexed. So that was really not good. But the Chrono from Provost, I think, was perfect. He got the 2 targets he needed. They brought down Enigma pretty low, then they doomed him. There was no Black Hole in that fight. And he's got 2 of them, and they still lost the fight. And considering Enigma is playing with a BKB and a Linken's, it's great from Na'Vi to completely lock him out of that fight, but it just isn't enough at this point. If that was an even game, or maybe a 5 or 10k deficit instead of a 20k one, perhaps Na'Vi take that fight, but they're just at such a huge disadvantage here that a good fight is not enough. It has to be absolutely perfect. So just the initial misplay pretty much loses them the fight right away. That's how perfect they need to play right now.
Yeah. And it's a real hard ask of what's being asked of them, but EG, all they got to do is keep their nerve here as well. We know EG normally have day 1 jitters, but they're looking very, very stable. Very, very stable. I still want to give like MVP and do anything during the last fight. Like Zai's presence throughout these entire engagements is still something to be very, very concerned about if you're a Na'Vi fanboy.
It means that you have to lock down the Enigma so much that you have nothing going the way of Arteezy. He gets to play freely in the fights. He now has a heart as well, so 3,400 health and a cheese. How are you going to kill this guy without dooming him? Like, you take down 2,500 of his health and then he just pops the cheese.
How do you kill him even if you don't doom him? Like, that's a lot of life points for Funnick. You got some confidence.
Yeah, they might not even kill him if they doom him. That's true. There's still 26 armor. Yeah. There's a mech and a pipe.
Like
I don't know.
Like even Void, because again, you're sitting with a Void who is now like, okay, he's finally going to build into something a little bit more like faster attack speed, but you don't have a large portion of damage. It's only 140 per hit, and like then you got to take into account everything else. But he's got Necrobook and BKB. You're not looking at like Maelstrom. You're not looking at Mjolnir. You're not looking at like Crystallis or something along these lines that's going to ensure you a high kill. What you've got is a large amount of control, but no mass amounts of damage to follow it up. So, yeah, Arteezy can be more than confident on this front lines. He starts a static link, they leap themselves away, so that static link's going to be on cooldown for a while, as I'm hearing actually a Hex over on the side. Don't know where I'm hearing that from, but either way, that tower, yeah, look at Arteezy. He doesn't care. He's just tanking up the entire thing. He knows the heart's going to regenerate him up, and he brings down the tower. No contest really being given by Na'Vi. A little bit of trading of damage, but that is all.
Yeah, EG are going to wait until the next wave, and then I think they'll go again. Arteezy will be back up to full health at that point. If he feels like he needs the mana for whatever reason, he could use the cheese of all.
He jumps in, he's trying to go for PPD. They're burning up his mana. He doesn't have enough for an ultimate right now. Even with his 5-1 charges, they lock him in the tree line. The Sunstrike will kill off PPD. Actually got his 1 charge off in time, and now you Black Hole! Out from Zai, avoids BKB, refresher orb, it's actually gone up with the Chrono. Mason's jumped up the top of it, EG, they have to sit and wait. Universe actually is doomed up at the moment, hence no Ravage coming out from him. But Mason has to get out. this base. Kuro back inside, but Arteezy 168 points of damage again being stolen, searching for the opening, and the fire starter split. PPD, Mason, low on life. Universe, now the Ravager will come on a funning. Dendy being caught by it on the edge of it a 2, and Kuro, the Hawk Stomp, buys in space. Universe 4-staffed in. He's looking for some extra gotchas. There's your second black hole onto a force. He needs to backtrack more than this. Time walk. He can leap himself away. Dendy's in close as well. Has to go invis. The wall up from Pumpy. No ultimate still available for him, and they're actually inside the base. They still haven't brought down the racks just yet, and EG going to continuously fight here. But they've got enough damage now. They focus on the racks. They come for the objective-based gaming, and Na'Vi looking to actually come back and fight this again. But it may be too late. The wall is up. They want some stragglers. Universe locked in to stay. Kuro being stunned up, trying to go for an own hoop stomp. The BKB from him will go. Another leap away by Avors. Has to break that static link. Back into Zai. Time lock on him, but Avors backtrack needs to help him. He's actually jumped himself out before, so there was no escape mechanism for him this time around. The mid-ranks is already gone, and EG, they've got one more ranks to do, and I don't see them backing up anytime soon. Storm, he's actually ulting halfway down the middle lane so we can rejoin the engagement. And now Universe, he's got Denny. A nice Deathling Blast, pushing back both the Tide as well as the Enigma, but not easy. Turns on the heat, and this will almost be the call right now. And there it is, GG. EG will take game number 1, 24-13, as they just rampage inside the fountain of Na'Vi. They are wanting to make sure that the Kings of LAN get schooled on day 1. Or day 2.
And as we said yesterday about IG, when their reaction to winning the game, when we were like, okay, it looks like IG is just another day at the office. EG were like, okay. Just the look on their faces was like, okay, we got what we wanted, we played what we wanted, and excellent performance from them in game 1.
Everything's going as expected. But let's see what the panel expected. We go back to Red Eye and the boys.
Thanks very much, Toby. Yeah, not just the boys now, it's also a girl, because we have Shiva here. I'm really pleased to say that we've got you on the desk. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great.
Great. How are you experiencing ESL 1?
I am experiencing in a very relaxed manner. I am just a spectator, so I'm having the good food, I'm sitting enjoying good Dota, and it's been amazing.
Good stuff. So first game, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, because obviously we've got Bruno up here as well.
We do.
And
I'll take the shot.
You'll take that shot? Okay, fine.
It's not the first time.
No, it's not. I admit it. I have had quite a few fired shots at you.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about that. EG, in a way, Seb got it right at the start when he was talking about through the draft, that they picked a team, they picked a composition that was good for team fights, they won the team fights, and they just seemed to consistently grind Na'Vi down. There were a couple of moments where Na'Vi kind of looked like, well, actually might make some sort of comeback here, but it seemed almost inevitable in a way that EG would just eventually just grind them down.
Yeah, I mean, if that had been Alliance instead of Na'Vi, you say, well, there's a possibility for the split push to execute. I mean, you see them executing that beautifully yesterday. But Na'Vi, we were talking during the game, they do not split push really, really well. They can do it, but I can't remember a game where Na'Vi won by using that strategy. So from the moment EG started taking control, it became downhill for them, and Dendy, he kind of didn't show up this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, shame. Ben, just very quickly, your thoughts on the first game?
I think Na'Vi needs to draft a little bit less greedy. I think Kuro and Puppy have to get kills, have to help out the other lanes, have to help out Havos and Dendy so that they can snowball. With a passive hero like Doombringer, it's not going to happen.
Okay, Shiva, just very quickly, your thoughts on that first game?
For me, it was a race against the clock, and if EG gets so far ahead, then Na'Vi is like, it's not going to happen
That was definitely
anymore.
the story of game 1, wasn't it, Seb?
For me, were two key points, both for Na'Vi and EG. I think banning Enigma when you're re-engine, when they're dire, is a good thing, because it's always the same story all over again. It's Enigma getting fast mech, then getting fast towers, and then getting Roche. And just snowball, and there's no way you can fight versus this. So that's the first point. And the second is that I would have loved to see that Disruptor Void on the offlane, because Tidehunter was free to do whatever he wanted. And I'm pretty sure that Disruptor Void, plus the help of a solo Prophet on the other side of the map, could help them actually destroy the Storm plus Skeleton King. I'm a bit disappointed by Navi's laning. I'm pretty sure they're going to bounce back. And that Enigma ban when you're Radiant sounds quite logic, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Just for now, we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, then we'll get some more thoughts on Game 1, and we'll look forward to the draft in Game 2.